There comes a moment in every person's life when the noise around them goes quiet, and the only voice left is the one they've ignored for years. Not the voice of comfort. Not the voice of excuses. Not the voice that tells you, tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. I'm talking about the other one. The quiet, steady whisper that has followed you since childhood. The voice that knows who you could be, and knows exactly why you're not there yet. And in that moment, you finally see it. Your problem was never lack of talent. Never lack of opportunity. Never lack of dreams. Your problem was that you never learned how to stay with yourself long enough to grow. And discipline, the thing you ran from, the thing you avoided, the thing you mislabeled as punishment, was the very medicine your soul had been begging for. There is a war inside you. A quiet one, a personal one, a war fought behind the closed door of your own mind. It starts every morning before your feet touch the floor. One side whispers, stay where it's safe, stay where it's warm, stay where nothing changes. The other side, the side you rarely listen to, says something different. It says, get up, go again, break the pattern, become who you were meant to be. And what makes this war brutal is that both voices sound like you. One is the echo of your past. The other is the blueprint of your future. Comfort versus calling. Fear versus responsibility. Habit versus growth. And the battlefield is your soul. Most people never win this war. Not because they're weak, but because they never realized they were fighting. You can't defeat an enemy you pretend isn't there. Discipline is not the enemy. Discipline is the weapon. Discipline is the armor. Discipline is the cure for the parts of you that keep sabotaging your own life. There's a reason discipline feels so heavy. It forces you to sit with the truth you've been running from. You do not get to become extraordinary by accident. Your future self doesn't arrive out of nowhere. They are built, brick by brick, day by day, choice by choice. But comfort convinces you otherwise. Comfort tells you your feelings must always be honored. Comfort tells you that motivation is required before action. Comfort tells you to wait for a perfect moment that will never come. Let me say that again. Comfort will let you die in the same place you started. Discipline is different. Discipline says, you don't have to feel ready. You just have to begin. Discipline says, you may not control everything, but you control this moment. And discipline, the very thing you've been avoiding, because it feels like restriction, is actually freedom in disguise. The freedom to break old patterns. The freedom to become someone your younger self would admire. The freedom to finally live a life that makes sense to your soul. Most people think discipline is about routines. Waking up early, going to the gym, studying more, working harder. But discipline is deeper than that. Discipline is identity. Discipline is the quiet vote your future self casts every day. Discipline is the bridge between the life you want and the life you are currently choosing. Let me give you the truth. Every small decision you make is turning you into someone. The question is, are you becoming the person you want to be, or the person your weaknesses are building for you? When you skip the work today, you're not just losing a day. You're strengthening the part of you that gives up. When you avoid discomfort, you're not protecting yourself. You're slowly shrinking into a version of you that your potential will one day resent. Most people fear failure. You should fear something much worse. Becoming someone who could have changed their life, but didn't. Discipline prevents that, because discipline is not the practice of perfection. It is the practice of becoming. Let's talk about the medicine. The reason discipline feels painful is because it forces you to confront the parts of your life that are still unhealed. Every time you break a bad habit, you are grieving an old identity. Every time you stay consistent, you are reminding your brain that it is safe to grow. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it, you are healing the version of you who believed they weren't capable of change. Discipline might feel like suffering at first, but it eventually becomes sanctuary. It becomes the place where you rebuild yourself, where you rediscover your strength, where you reclaim control over a life that once felt too heavy. Some pain destroys you, some pain shapes you. Discipline is the second kind. Everything changes the day you decide to stop negotiating with your potential. Not tomorrow, not after things get easier, not when the timing is right. Now, in this moment, because that is the only real doorway to transformation. A single decision that says, I refuse to live one more year the same way as the last. From that moment forward, discipline becomes less of a burden and more of a compass. It guides you toward the life you were meant to live. It gives structure to your purpose. It gives dignity to your dreams. And slowly, without fanfare, without applause, without anyone noticing, you begin to change. You begin to walk differently, think differently, choose differently, not because someone forced you, but because discipline finally taught you how to respect yourself. These are not instructions. These are invitations, steps you take within yourself, steps that reshape your identity. 1. Begin before you feel ready. Discipline is built through action, not anticipation. 2. Keep one promise to yourself every day. Just one. Consistency begins with something small. 3. Choose discomfort over regret. Growth requires friction. Regret requires nothing. 4. Remove the distractions that have been stealing your future. Not all thieves wear masks. Some are in your pocket. Some are in your habits. 5. Honor the voice that wants you to rise. You know the one. The whisper that refuses to leave you alone. 6. Let your future self participate in every decision. Ask, will this strengthen me, or weaken me? 7. Build a life where your actions earn your respect. When you respect yourself, discipline becomes natural. Listen closely. There will come a day when you look back at the person you are right now, standing at the edge of change, tired of your own excuses, quietly craving a new life. And you will say, that was the moment everything shifted. Because discipline is not punishment. It is not suffering. It is not self-denial. It is the medicine your soul has needed from the moment you stopped believing in yourself. A medicine that heals you. A medicine that strengthens you. A medicine that leads you home to the person you were meant to become. So rise. Stand up with intention. Stand up with courage. Stand up with the quiet conviction that your future begins the moment you decide it does. And if you take nothing else from this entire message, take this. Your soul is not asking for an easier life. It is asking for a stronger you. And discipline, your oldest enemy, your greatest teacher, is ready to help you build that strength.